Welcome in, folks, for another episode of the Next Shift podcast. Kenny, it's been a couple weeks. We're kind of on an every other week schedule right now. We both have so much going on, but it's always good to sit down and kind of hang out, catch up on some hockey talk, watch a Bruins game. I was telling you beforehand, I'm going to have an OHL game on the side as well. But how you been, Kenny, and how are you enjoying the hockey life right now?
Yeah, it's good. I feel like I definitely want to try to come on here every week again. I know we started strong. We've kind of struggled a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get back to it. Obviously, we've both been extremely busy with what we're doing, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and your stuff as well. Like I feel like everything's kind of working out, and we'll figure out how to get back on here weekly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure eventually we'll get back on weekly, but I mean, as long as we remain consistent, you and I could just sit here and talk all day long and just have life be a background thing, but we both have stuff to get going on, and I know you've been down in Bridgeport quite a bit. We got the bees going on. Gail and I are still rocking and rolling on Wednesdays, so one of these days when you're fully caught up on the bees, I know you're watching a lot more Bridgeport than Providence these days, but Providence, I mean, talk about a bandwagon right now for fans, but a juggernaut in the AHL.
Yeah, I mean, Bridgeport plays Providence 12 times, so I definitely will still see a good amount. I watched last night's game against Hartford, and I mean, Dylan Grant's still doing what he does against Providence, and that's, dominating. I don't know. Thought I read 42 saves in that game
Yeah.
for Dylan Grant, and just an unfortunate overtime goal, which if you're a Bruins fan, which if you're watching this, I'm safe to assume that you are probably a Bruins fan. Fabian Lysell scores, gets a nice deflection, and he didn't deflect it. Got a lucky bounce, and it ended up going in. Just feels like something that is good for him at this point. I saw him, playing on the fourth line, being
Got
sad,
fourth
being
line,
tired.
got the benching. He needed the goal for sure,
Yeah,
but let's not sugarcoat it. He got lucky.
yeah, no. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna act like it was some, wizardry. It wasn't. He tried to
It wasn't.
pass it to the middle, got lucky.
It
And if,
was it was no Victor Arvidsson deflecting off the back of the goalie for his first goal in Boston.
no, it honestly felt like that was the way you had to beat Dylan Garand. You had to get lucky,
Dude,
and
he was so good. He
yeah.
was. I don't know if he'll ever get NHL quality, but he is definitely capable of being one of the best in the AHL for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and something that I have been keeping up on, especially as we're doing stuff with Bridgeport and the Islanders prospects, is Spencer Martin just signed with the New York Rangers, got sent down, cleared waivers, so he'll be with Hartford. That's good for them. It might suck a little bit for Dylan Garand because now it's it probably will be a split starting kind of thing. The reason I obviously know this because CSKA Moscow, which was his old team, the Islanders have a goalie there, Dmitry Gamzin, who is playing out of his mind, and he took that starting spot from Martin, and Martin ended up having his contract terminated. But he didn't play poorly. He put up good stats over.
No, I feel like this is a move for almost like mentorship. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the crease for Hartford, the depth increase that they have, obviously no one's going, like Shesterkin's not going anywhere. Didn't they just extend Jonathan Quick too? Like,
Maybe. I don't know if it would have been long. I don't think it's long term if they did.
no, it's not. I want to say it's another year.
Probably, possibly, I'd say.
Oh no, this is the year. This
Yeah.
is the 1 year of his extension, and he's gonna be 40. Bonuses too. But the spot behind Shesterkin is open, and I'm wondering if trying to get a player like Garand ready, something like that is something considering. That's why they go make a move like this to have him ready to step in when Jonathan Quick's not there.
Yeah, and I mean, it was pretty simple. I think the goaltending breakdown was basically Igor and Quick at the top, and then you had Garand in the middle, and then basically everybody else who's in that system right now. Even though we do have a few favorites, you know. So, but yeah,
Who,
no,
us have favorites? No.
no, no. We definitely. Well, I don't know if I would consider him a favorite, but we definitely talk about him a lot. So Callum Tongue, obviously being down in the ECHL, this kind of reminds me of just last year where they had so many goalies that they had to just kind of spread them out in the ECHL. Like Hugo Olas, who was a Merrimack alum, signed with the Rangers. He had to go play with Worcester because they just didn't have enough spots in the system for all the goalies that they have, and it's kind of feeling like the same thing with now Olas, Tongue, and now Boyko going back down. I'm assuming.
Sorry, for some reason my Nestle feed decided to pause and I didn't touch it. So gotta love how it fell behind. Luckily, they're getting ready for the anthem. So I didn't miss any actual puck drop. Still,
No.
what the hell? So, but no, they have a ton of goaltending down there. They got 5 non-rostered goaltenders. I mean, I'm not that worried about it though. I mean, they got 3 of them who are becoming RFAs at the end of this season. So it'll be more telling to see based on who they keep. The fact that they gave Spencer Martin a 2-year tells me that they are not expecting Quick back next season, simply because Spencer Martin is capable of being a number 2 behind a goaltender like Shesterkin, a guy who can get you 60 starts. You know,
Yeah, and as somebody who's covering Bridgeport and they're holding on to their playoff spot, I know it's only November. I'm not a huge fan of them of Hartford bulking up on that goaltending position. Obviously, with Dylan Garand being the starter, they've struggled a lot, that Hartford team. So as Bridgeport holds that 6th spot, they're starting to play better. I was like, damn, all right, there's not going to be an easy night against Hartford anymore.
yeah. Now, who are you seeing really take the net for Bridgeport right now?
So right now they have 2 veterans. It's Marcus Hogberg and Parker Gahagan, and Gahagan has been around the league. I didn't even know who he was until last season, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, well,
He must
Providence is
he must
taking.
be on an AHL only contract then.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, well, Gahagan is playing with Lehigh Valley. He was in the ECHL. I was like, okay, this might be an easy win. Takes Providence to overtime. Georgi Merkulov ended up scoring the game-winning goal in that game, but I was like, wow, this guy's a gamer. And you look at in stats-wise, you look at it in the AHL, and he's just always been an AHL gamer. He's always posted very nice stats, and he's played very well this season. Marcus Hogberg played most of the year in the NHL last season, so having him down in Bridgeport kind of takes care of their biggest need. I mean, last season I knew Providence could play a C- game and still win the game just because Bridgeport's goaltending was struggling so much. And honestly, it's not even their fault. I mean,
They
injuries
didn't have to play a C- game. They could have played an F game and still won last year.
It's unfortunate because I felt like some of those prospects, especially the goaltending ones, were rushed. They honestly, when it got towards the end of the season, you had no idea who was even going to take warm-ups for the team. They had 6 goalies. Like, Providence had combined a very middle to high end goaltending tandem last season. Brandon Bussey kind of brought that down a little bit. Obviously, Michael DiPietro played an incredible season, and
Yeah.
they had 2 goalies take the majority of the starts. Bridgeport had 6 goalies who played 5 or more starts. There was just no consistency in the net. Tristan Lennox was a goalie who was out for almost a year and then immediately came back and had to play games in Bridgeport because there was nobody else. Players were rushed, and that's just kind of the nature of what was happening in New York. I mean, Sorokin was down. The Bruins played against, the Islanders, and Jacob Skarek was playing in net, like, and that's supposedly their 4th goalie. That's their
Yep.
4th on the depth chart, and he's playing. Tristan Lennox played, unfortunately, played only 2 shots and let one in and was pulled again, which was just an ugly situation that happened last year. I feel horrible for the guy. He's what, their 6th. He's the backup in the ECHL right now, and he was playing in the NHL last season. So
Yeah. It
just
would
tough.
be the equivalent of pick someone off Maine Mariners. Like a couple of years back, it would have been the equivalent of like Reed Dick getting the start for Boston. Like,
Yeah, and playing in an NHL game, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's hard to have a team game when you know that's kind of what's backing you up. Like if you're already not playing well, and you kind of feel like you're not going to have that type of goaltending, like it obviously takes an effect on the team. And this isn't even me saying anything about those goaltenders in particular because they were put in an extremely difficult situation, but
yeah,
that was just kind of the nature of the season. And this year, that's just not the case. They have really strong goaltending. Hogberg has been unbelievable. Gahagen's been great. So that's kind of been it. I'm kind of waiting. I'm wondering if Bridgeport is going to get some more support at the goaltending position, maybe down the line. I don't know what they're looking for in college free agents or whatever. But
this is
right
gonna be
now,
a big, interesting season for college. I
mm,
mean, it is every year fun to watch, but like, um, Alvin Boya will be available again. He's going to get a lot of calls this year. There were a couple other ones who went back last year that you and I had talked about too. I can't remember all of them, but and now, I mean, not to say he would be one and done, but if you want to get ahead of the curb on him, Austin Elliott is doing real well for UMass Lowell. And I know early in the season we talked a little bit about him and we are like, well, let's give him a little bit of chance to like actually do something. But he's playing well.
yeah, and I think that's goaltending wise, at the end of the season, all the teams are gonna decide what's best. I mean, when you have a guy that's so good, if other teams are having the opportunity to take him and you're one of the teams, you got to try to get in on him. I know that Alvin Boy decided to go back to college, but this year, if other teams are in on Alvin Boy, you can't just be like, hey, we'd rather you go back to college. Like, he's one of those
Right.
guys like Callum Tongue who you might want to grab early just so you can have him in the system. So who
Right.
knows? We'll see.
Well, that's just it. Like you want to get them in your system. Like who cares if they have to sit in the American Hockey League for 2, 3, 4 seasons? Again, depending on what your current starting situation looks like. Like I would not be surprised. Like I know they already have a starting goaltender caliber in Yaroslav Askarov, but that's the kind of guy that I would be looking at if I'm San Jose, someone who can complement him in a couple years. And who knows, like when you're doing the type of rebuild that they are doing, you may have to go through a goalie or two before you find the one that fits your timeline. Not even so much your age or your grouping. They need to fit your timeline too.
Yeah. The Senators just scored. Claude Giroux on the power play. Jeffrey
Yeah,
Viel takes a penalty early. That's tough. Uh,
they've come out to a lot of early leads, and Boston has had to fight back. I think every time they've played Ottawa. So like, I'm not extremely worried, but at the same time, they're on a 7-game win streak. How upset can I be if they drop a game?
yeah, I mean, we're literally like a minute and a half into the game. So
Right.
and it's a 1-0 deficit. Like I'm really not too concerned. But back to what you were saying, I think that's a great idea, especially for a team like San Jose, who, funny enough, we were just talking about Jakub Skarek. He is now the backup of San Jose as Alex Nedeljkovic is out with some personal issues. Like, and that's what I said. Like last year, he was the fourth guy on Bridgeport's depth chart, and now he's
In the
second
NHL again.
in the NHL again. So funny enough, Skarek ended up signing in Finland and then ended up terminating that contract before even going over there and signing with the San Jose Barracuda. So that's just the kind of situation San Jose is in, and they could definitely use a goalie. They have Ravensburgen coming down the pipeline, which could be a while. You have no idea, but it was it was smart because they both have they don't have to change their game or anything like that. 'Cause I believe him and Askarov both catch this with the same hand, so
Right.
it's something like that they picked Ravensburgen up in the first round.
And with like Detroit is another good example, right? Like they've got Hossa, they've got Augustine. Like they've got 2 young kids in their pipeline, but they're currently feeding their NHL roster with Gibson and Talbot. So, like, that's how you build depth, because one of those guys is gone next year, and then that's when you're hoping to have Kosa in. And, like, if you think back to when, like, Chicago won their cups, when the Kings won their cups, like, you don't want to be overextended on a goaltender's salary when you're in the midst of trying to win. Otherwise, you're going to have to work around it. You don't want that position to be the position that hinders you. So obviously, when you have a guy like a Swayman, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, you have to pay them. Connor Hellebuck. Because think about, if you're the Winnipeg Jets, your position that you have to worry about in goal is, we need a guy who can get us 25 to 30 games for the next 8 years. You don't have to worry about the position for a decade. Think about how often the Bruins were worried about their starting goaltender position when they had Tuukka Rask in net. Like, when you go from a guy like I'm trying to think of some of the backups that they had, like Svedberg. Thank you. I almost said Svedback. I'm like, that's not right.
I actually, funny enough, I made that. Somebody was like, "Oh, name a random Bruin or whatever," and I said Nicholas Svedback, and then I think Ace ended up, commenting like, it's Svedberg, and I was like, "Oh, too much Philip Svedback on the brain."
Right, but like, that's when you get him, and then like they cycled through a few guys. There was like Chad Johnson in there.
Yeah,
Anton Hudobin had the one good year. What's that?
Yeah, Jonas Gustafsson as well.
Yep, Jonas Gustafsson. There were a couple in there.
Yeah.
But that was prime Tuukka Rask. And then all of a sudden, when you're trying to hold Rask back a little bit because he's getting older, that's when you go get a Jaro Halak. And that tandem is what basically gave them birth to Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. Granted, Swayman earned that spot, but I mean, now every team's going to a 2-man duo.
Yeah, funny enough, Yaroslav Halak, former Bridgeport Sound Tiger. So
yep,
it's all coming full circle. This podcast, it's all coming back to Bridgeport, but
everything's landing on Bridgeport, huh?
Yeah, no, and yeah, I mean, every team has a tandem nowadays. I mean, I remember those days, Rask starting 60, I mean, high 60s, 70 games. Like, you just can't do that anymore, and then go try to play in the playoffs. It's just not. It doesn't work. So
yeah.
I think having that, and the AHL does this all the time with how brutal their schedule is. We saw it last year with Providence. Is they run a tandem all season, and then the starter just takes it in the playoffs so he can get into a groove. And that was DiPietro for most
it's
of it.
It's a little bit different in the AHL though, because you got so many back-to-backs and so many 3-and-3s, 2-and-3s. Like, it is a little bit different because of the scheduling, but I mean, at this point now, NHL teams, you have to have a third guy ready to go. Like,
you can't sacrifice any points by putting in a backup. No. Like you can't have a goalie go down and then have some guy who's not ready sitting in the wing. You can't have scheduled losses if you want to make the playoffs. You can't have scheduled losses if you want to win the Stanley Cup at the end of the year. So having that third goalie is huge, obviously.
And my question to you would be, name a team that's not trying to win the Stanley Cup.
Exactly. There you go. Well, I would say every team's trying to win the Stanley Cup, but some teams are at a point where they're not there. And so bringing in a third goalie isn't necessarily their biggest concern. And that's why you have a guy like Jakub Skarek,
taking for sure. Like if you're San Jose, right? Like, is it possible to catch lightning in a bottle and go on a deep cup run? Like, it's possible. Like you have talented players. It's not impossible to have happen. But like, if you're looking at the rest of the landscape of the Western Conference, are you really thinking, even with your starting goaltender as Yaroslav Askarov, are you getting by Colorado,
Dallas,
Vegas, Dallas, and
Minnesota.
Edmonton.
Yeah,
Even
no.
Minnesota, yeah, throw them in there. They're off to a little bit of a slow start, but like, you're going to have to get through like at least 2 of those 4. Are you realistically getting through 2 of the 4, if
No.
not 3 of the 4?
Well, no, but you also look at the timeline. Like, if they make the playoffs, they're thrilled. If not, well, we weren't supposed to make the playoffs anyway, so it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Right. But for them having that third goaltender is not, like you said, it's not critical. It's
No,
not. It's not. They're not in the same position as Toronto.
no.
And I only say that because I just saw a Toronto update. Looks like they just took a lead in their game. So
Wow. Yeah, no. Who would have thought? Now their starters are now the starters who played for the Marlies last year against Providence. They had Dennis Hildeby, who split the CCM goaltender of the All-Star Game award last year. Fun
yeah,
fact. And then Arthur Artyomov. Trying to remember how to pronounce that. Austin Rook did a
they
fantastic
just called
job.
him up though. They
Yes.
just called him up.
Yeah, so he's up there. He played against Providence the first game when they were home. So that
Yeah.
yeah,
They just
so
called him up because of the Stolar's injury, which, I me, I never liked that Stolar's contract from the second they signed it. I did not like it. I will go sit. I will always say that it was a mistake, not for the same reasons that everybody else is saying. Like, he doesn't suck. He's not a starter. Like, he can get away with the way he plays the position for 25 to 30 games a season. He's the guy that you can put in against the San Jose's, against, Columbus-ish. Like, once you start getting against playoff caliber rosters, you're not playing him on a regular basis. He can steal you one here and there against them. Last year was on a really good team in front of him. Like, if you think about how good he was or how good the team in front of him was, that team almost beat Florida. I think people underestimate how good that team was and how much of a hit Mitch Marner was when he left. Like, the team itself is playing like garbage. They look lost. A bunch of them are injured. The blue line is a disaster. Like, you had the lightning in a bottle last year.
honestly, I love it as a Bruins fan, but I love it so much because every other fan base on this planet told the Maple Leafs fans it's not Mitch Marner. And that was their scapegoat for years. That was their whipping boy. And guess what? He leaves and it all falls apart. And it's like, well, everybody else in the league told you it was not Mitch Marner's fault that you were not winning playoff games. I
Right.
mean, I remember 2 years ago when Pasta won, Pasta scored the game-winning goal in Game 7. Who was their top scorer? John Tavares with 3 points in 7 games. Austin Matthews didn't have a ton of points. Matthew Nyes was one of the guys that was leading the way, and Matt Nyes is a great player, but he was a rookie and he's leading a team when you have Austin Matthews and William Nylander, who unfortunately Nylander didn't play a ton in that series, but he did his job when he had to. Like, and Mitch Marner and John Tavares, like you had all these guys, and yet Matthew Nyes was the one that was leading the way in points. Like that could not happen. Yet they're taking it out on Mitch Marner like it's his fault. Now Mitch
Right.
Marner, and he thrives, and I love it that they're upset. And I didn't even realize this the other day. Alex Steves
Oh,
scored, and people
ping.
about that. Yeah, I saw that off the crossbar.
Oh, I just think it's hilarious. In one game, they have Minton give him a dagger, and the other game, they have Alex Steves give him a dagger, and they're all
Yeah.
just like, "What the hell?" It's like, well, it's the karma that, like you said, because everybody's sitting here going, "Don't chase Mitch Marner out of town. He should not be your whipping boy."
No, there is a problem, and it's not him. I love it. I thought it was great that I love Vinny Lettieri. Like he's a great player and he did his job last season. But I honestly felt like for that position, it was a little bit of an upgrade getting Alex Steves. And well, I was right. Now Steves is in the NHL and Lettieri's in the AHL.
So the funny thing is, oh wow, Shohei Ohtani just got awarded the MVP again, and it was
Shocking.
unanimous.
Shocking.
From ESPN, Shohei Ohtani wins 4th MVP in last 5 years, all in unanimous fashion.
That's baseball.
Sorry,
That's baseball.
not shocking.
No.
No, it just distracted me. Um, I had a thought. I wanted to throw this at someone. Um, who's another highly paid, extremely talented elite forward center also, who's not living up to their contract in their current city?
uh I just want to check one thing.
Like, because let's be honest, right? I think you and I are both in the same boat. Like, Austin Matthews is a problem for them.
Yeah, but
And not
I don't think they'll ever take it out on Austin Matthews. Like,
no.
you know,
And
they,
that's the funny part. That's why they deserve what they're getting, because they're not picking the right problem to solve. They're not
not for
asking the
nothing.
right question.
I like Austin Matthews. I think he's a talented player, but man, has he just not shown up in the big moments? Like, I'll even say it. Like whatever the mid-season tournament. What was it? The World something. I don't know. I'm completely blanking on what the name was. It TD Garden and Bell Center.
The Four Nation face-off.
Yeah, Four Nation. He was horrible. He was awful.
He was garbage.
He was terrible. Like him and Jack Hughes, like you couldn't even ice that line. And then he ends up getting just a prime scoring opportunity in overtime in the championship game, and he messes it up. And like I'm not gonna act like I'm sure it's difficult. Like, but when you're an elite talent and you're getting paid the amount that you're getting paid, you have to show up in the big moments. And he's shown up in every moment, just not the big ones. So
Matthews has always been high maintenance. Like, there's a difference between the high maintenance that Willie Nylander is and the high maintenance that Austin Matthews is. William Nylander is high maintenance because he's trying to take care of himself, both mentally and physically. Austin Matthews is high maintenance just because he's, somewhat of a prissy bitch. Like, I'll call it what it is. Like, I genuinely would not be surprised if he hurt himself going back after Nikita Zadorov the other night. Like, just because he would. I do think that obviously there's been some injury problems, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but like, he's also just not been good. And yeah, he gets goals, which is hard to do, but it's easy to do when that's what your entire game is based around.
Yeah, I'll throw another one at you, Elias Pettersson. I was just checking
because that's who I was talking about.
Someone
build a deal between those two teams to switch those two players.
Oh yeah, no, it was funny enough. Like, so I was like watching the BNG pod the other day, and they said something. And I was like, oh man, like it fit. I commented Ilya Sorokin because man, do these Islanders fans hate Ilya Sorokin?
He's not even been that bad.
They hate Ilya Sorokin. Ilya Sorokin is the devil, and David Riddick can do no wrong. Is what I'm seeing.
Oh, so they're Boston fans.
Shocker. I moved to another fan base that's David Riddick, Boston, type
centric.
Fan.
Oh man, like he's a very solid goaltender. He's sound. I mean, he plays the position very, very well. The team in front of him has been garbage, and he's been hurt. So, like, if you factor out the time he's been hurt, when he's playing healthy, he's been very, very, very good. It's just.
I also want to say, like, you have to realize also the pressure that he has on him, right? He's no longer splitting the crease with a Semyon Varlamov. Not that David Riddick is bad. Also, they fired his goalie coach, and ended up bringing up the goalie coach from Bridgeport, who used to be his goalie coach in Russia, and it seems like it's all working out. Like everything's now going in the direction that the Islanders wanted to go in. They're starting to play much better, and Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to switch up the topic on you, but man, has Matthew Schaefer been fun to watch.
Oh, I bet. Oh, for
He
sure.
he's been
For sure.
unbelievable.
But here's the thing though. They have a defender like Matthew Schaefer now playing in front of Ilya Sorokin. Who was that guy before?
Noah Dobson, who was
Was no was Noah Dobson ever as good defensively
no
as Matthew Schaefer is right now?
Math Noah Dobson, and I remember this even before I was like watching the Islanders religiously. Like there was times where he would just give zero effort on defense. He was great
That's what I
offensively,
mean.
zero effort on defense, and he
That's
still
exactly what I
does.
mean.
He still shows zero effort in Montreal. Like it's it's not shocking. They had Devon Tays too back in the day, former
Yeah.
Jack Bobcat, former Bridgeport Islander, or Sound Tigers.
Current Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, what a move that was, moving on from Devon Tays. But yeah, I honestly, I was a huge fan of Cal Ritchie as well, and now they have him playing on the fourth line, which I'm not a huge fan of. Even though Waugh keeps saying that he has the trust and the offense will come, I'm not. I would rather him play in Bridgeport where he was dominating, and I got to see one of the 3 games that he played live, and I was just in awe of just how skilled he was. I think the HL is like, I hate to say it because I'm kind of in the middle. I don't want Ritchie to play in on the fourth line, but I think he is too skilled all around for the AHL. He kind of reminds me of a Matt Poitras last year, but he has the defense and he's not afraid to run through contact. So he basically has everything
He's
he
bigger
needs.
than Poitras too, isn't he?
Yeah. So and
Yeah. I mean, not that many people aren't bigger than Matthew Poitras.
yeah. No, so that game, I think I ended up going into the booth and I ended up meeting the communications and broadcaster Jason Shea, who's a great guy, and I was like, man, sometimes it's hard to watch a guy like Cal Ritchie do his thing in Bridgeport, and he was like, why is that? I was like, because I wish Boston had him. I wish he was a Boston prospect because this guy, yeah, he gets it done, and his offensive game kind of reminds me a lot of Patra, where he's very skilled at playmaking, but he also has that, he's not afraid to shoot. He's not afraid to make moves. He's not afraid to fight through contact. Like, yeah, I wish we would. I mean, I'm not going to complain about Will Zellers, but I wish the Bruins kind of got Richie back in that deal for Charlie Coyle. But I
Oh,
would
I
to.
think it's hilarious. Not. I mean, now I'm going to change the subject on you a little bit, just because you threw Will Zeller's name out there. I just think it's hilarious how many people are. I mean, you know how Boston fans are. They're always looking ahead, and it's like, oh, in 3 years from now, when Will Zellers is on this line and going through all the prospects, I'm like, can we let them get through this year first? Like, remember how you were like shitting all over Dean Letourneau last season because he couldn't score? And like now you're ready to pencil him in as a second line behind James Hagen's center. Like,
Yeah, what a turn of events for that guy. But yeah, no, I mean, this was the thing last year. Like, I posted stuff about some USHL players, Morello, Kostadinsky, Zellers, and people were like, when do you think we'll see them in the NHL? And I'm like, not even close. Like, even I can't project, I have no idea. These guys haven't even played in college yet. They haven't even taken the step before the step to make the NHL. So
right.
like you're asking me to project that far down the line, like I have no idea. These guys are playing in the USHL as well. Like it was a great league last year, but it's like I have no idea. Like if you
Right.
ask me about it, I'll give you an honest answer. But like the reality is that I could be way off. I could say Will Zellers would be one and done. I could say Will Zellers would be two and done. We have no idea. You ask people about Dean Letourneau, people granted who probably don't know.
Remember when he was supposed to be one and done at
Yeah,
BC?
people thought that he was going to be one and done, and then you play a season and he has 3 points and you're a bust and you're a waste of a pick. So, but
Now he's got what, 5 or 6 goals this year?
he has more goals than James Higgins, I believe. So
yeah, right. And so now he's I mean, everyone's still super high on James Higgins, but like, and I'm not saying Higgins won't go. I'd love to see him continue the path that he's on, get a year in Providence, and be ready to step into the NHL. I'd love to see it. What's that look for?
I love, because that is where we were. That is how me and you were thinking when this pick happened. But just to look back and see how many people thought that James Higgins should have either immediately joined the Bruins or immediately after this season, even without him playing a single game this year,
Should have been on the
say,
roster.
say we need to carve out a spot for this guy. It just makes me chuckle every time. And it's like this is what happens. Stuff happens. And and I feel like for us, like, he was playing on a line with Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard, some of the best to ever do it in the NCAA, right?
Right.
Like this year, he's playing with Comney and he's playing with Stiga, two decent players. I know the Comney side that switches up a lot, but those are
Stiga's going
not
to be good in the NHL when he gets there.
those
But
guys are
like,
not Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault.
no, but even they're not playing in the NHL right now. Like they're spending time in the AHL.
I think Gabe Perreault just got called up.
I think he just got called up like maybe a week or so ago. But I
He
mean,
did. He had a hot start in the AHL.
right, which is fine. But like the fact that their teams are sending him down there tells you even the teams that are relying on them are going, hey, I don't think you're quite ready. Like Jimmy Snuggerud is playing great for the Blues. How much better do you think he could be if he spent an entire season just cooking and simmering down in Springfield?
He's
Like,
cooking right now, and he spent 4 seasons at Minnesota.
right.
So
4 seasons. 4, not
4.
2, 1, 4.
Yes.
Like that's part of why he's cooking right now. Because if
Yes,
you want him
because
to be 2 years and done in NCAA, he's got to get a year in the American.
and I don't know who's around Jimmy Snuggerud, but those people deserve a raise or something because they were the ones that were like, listen, you probably could benefit from another year at Minnesota. He probably could have left after year 2. He probably could have left after, losing to Quinnipiac in the national championship, but he didn't. He stayed another year. And then he was like, okay, the Blues said, if you want to, it's up to you. It's your decision for your final year. And he was like, I think I want to go back to college. I want to develop another year, and then I'll be here for after that. Great. And look at the way he turned out.
Yeah.
Because that's, that it's not the worst thing in the world. And were any of the people at the Blues concerned? No. But now they're loving it. They're getting the benefits right now.
Of course, those are the same fans that are now ready to ship off Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah. Yeah, the Blues. I feel like every year they struggle out of the gates. Like it's just a common thing now. I don't know what it is, but
No, they're in the Jim Montgomery slump era now.
yeah, they're back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Montgomery's not a great coach. He's a good coach. It's just he's not a great coach, and so he's not going to coach a team up. Like if you look at what he did in Boston for his first 2.5 seasons, he didn't fuck it up. That's it. And when he did fuck it up, it was big. He started the wrong goaltender who wasn't healthy. Like he completely ruined the entire season when he tried to actually do something. Like,
Yeah.
And when he actually did something, he separates Marchand and Bergeron. Like, I'm sorry, who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
One of the best. Name the iconic duos in hockey that you can think of, right? Like you're thinking Gretzky and Messier, you're thinking, you know what I mean? Like first it's Bergeron and Chara, then it's like Bergeron and Marchand. It's like, okay, that's the threshold, that's the echelon they're in, and you separate them? The hell are you thinking? You're overthinking is what it is.
Yeah, trying to reinvent the wheel here, know.
And then you go with the guy who's banged up in goal. When you have it's not like you're like, maybe this kid can do it. Like you already knew this kid can play the position. You've been alternating all season long, and now's the time you choose to go away from it. When the guy's banged up, it's supposed to be the other kid's turn anyway, and this is what you've been doing all year, and it's gotten you the best history in the best season in the history of the league.
Yeah, and let's be fair. It's not there that was the decision because Linus Omar didn't have any playoff experience either. Like it's not like he didn't. Well, right, he was in Buffalo the whole time before coming here, or coming to Boston, so he didn't play at all. He didn't play a single playoff. So there was really no reason to make that decision. But that's when you try to make a big brain play, like Team Canada at the World Juniors last year. Try to big brain it, and then you completely miss. Right? You took a swing, you took a big swing on something that you could have just bunted.
You swung on ball 4.
Exactly. There you go. You swung on ball 4. All you had to do was not fuck it up, and you actively fucked it up. You
Yep.
didn't have to do anything. Didn't have to touch it. Just literally let the ball whiz by, and you
Right.
decided that
Because the thing is, too, is like specifically that decision, right? If you look at it at the end and you still get it wrong, at least you sit there and you can go, why wouldn't I do this? It's worked for us all season. And
Just-
the answer to that is, I mean, he's got a point. Like, that's how you counter that one, is by going, yeah, he's got a point there. But now when you're trying to justify all these different reasons to not do that, you put yourself in a position where you have a decision to justify that isn't justifiable. You know, like it's not like you benched him for Patrick Waugh.
yeah.
So, did you see that turnover that Lori almost made behind their own goal right last before this puck drop?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he flubbed it behind his own goal.
I
But
wonder.
him in the sheltered minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I haven't been watching a ton of the Bruins, haven't been watching a ton of Providence either, but saw Lori was sitting in the stands for how many games was it? 4
5.
games? 5 games, and then came
Benched for
back with this
5.
injury? Yeah, I wonder.
It didn't reach? Yeah, because it was the 6th game that he came in, and that was that first Toronto game. So,
Yeah, what was the reason for that? Defense?
just the way he was playing.
Did he not put up points or anything?
Oh no, he's been turning the puck over all season. He's been oh
turning
yeah,
the puck all over last season too.
I know, he's been their worst defender all this season pretty much. I mean, I'm with Court. I've talked to him a few times about it. He said quite a few times Andrew Peak needs to sit too. You know, like it's funny though, because Lori was the problem. Like, he was the main problem, because he would miss an assignment and then McAvoy would try to make up for it and put himself out of position, and then someone else would try to fill in for McAvoy where he's out of position, and then it became a clusterfuck because everyone's trying to cover for the one guy, and then it's like then you got McAvoy stuck between trying to cover where his guy was and where he's supposed to be, and all this stuff. So, good. Now we have it down 2-0.
Dylan Cousins with a nice shot. I wonder if they're going to look at it. Let's see. I saw Sturm go down to the iPad.
Boston should be able to win this game. That being said, like I said before, you're on a 7-game winning streak. You're bound to lose at some point. I don't see anything. Win them all. Unless they're looking for offsides, I don't see what the challenge is for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they're going to say he pushed the defender into him. But when you're a minute left in the first, you're only down 2-0. You haven't done anything offensively. Like, you've got 4 shots in the first period.
You're also not playing like an incredible goaltender on the other side. You know, it's not like, you know, he's going to have to put up a good performance to win.
I didn't even see who they put in.
Levi Merlainen, which, by the way, I love this so much. Do you know how much Senators fans were talking shit after they got Linus Ullmark? You know, he played games. They loved it. They absolutely went ballistic on Twitter about how stupid the Bruins are. And now look at it. They hate Ullmark with a passion. Jonas Korpisalo has been a better goalie than Ullmark this season, statistically, from what I saw.
Merlainen is now their starter.
Yes, and let's not forget Dean Letourneau now having an incredible season, the pick that they got for. And Mark Kastelik, also a fan favorite here in Boston. So it looks like a pick that people were upset that Sweeney made in a trade that they were upset that Sweeney made ended up working out pretty well so far.
So far, I'd say so. I mean, they already extended Mark Kastelik.
Yeah, and Jonas Korpisalo has been a serviceable backup goalie. So
which is all you were looking for him for.
exactly.
Um, it Linus, like, the Senators are good enough to make the playoffs, and Linus is good enough to be the guy for them in the playoffs. They have to get there first. And like, they're going to be the prototypical team where they're playing better in front of Maryland. That's part of it. They were playing like dog shit in front of Linus Ullmark, and that was not helping. Linus Ullmark then started to play like dog shit himself, and the team in front of him got better. So it just hasn't matched. In 2 months, Linus Ullmark finds his game, and the team is playing their game in front of him. They will be a team to watch out for. Absolutely. They're just not that right now. And Boston's in a position where they need to beat these teams now when they're not playing well, because they need to bank points.
Yeah, game 1 and game 82 are worth the same amount. That's why it's huge to get off to a good start and try to just maintain from there. So, you don't want to be one of those teams at the end of the season that's like, oh man, I wish we would have, won this one, or I wish we would have. Now we're preying on other teams to lose. Now we can't even get in on our own. Like, you don't want to be that team that's sitting here watching other games, hoping that they lose. That's a tough feeling. So
I know we've been there before.
yes.
Last year, not so much.
No. Last year was pretty cut and dry, I'll say. I do want to ask, I don't know if you saw about have you seen Devin Levi, the coach kind of getting into Devin Levi after the game in Rochester?
I have not, but I know there are a lot of people who are saying he wants out.
Devin Levi got pulled, I think again. I think the coach said 3 straight games he's been pulled. He gave up 3 goals early, and he ended up being pulled. And the coach basically just went in on him in the post game, just talk about how development means that they need to get big saves, and he wasn't giving it to him. Funny enough, Rochester playing Bridgeport on Saturday, and I will be there, so
But
that'll be
see,
fun.
when it comes to Devin Levi, though, I do wonder how much of it is just being in the Buffalo system. Because think about how long you and I talked about how poorly Buffalo utilizes Rochester for player development. Devin Levi is the first player they've tried that with, and let's be honest, they didn't exactly do a smooth, bang up job with it.
And I mean, Rochester isn't a poor team either. I feel like you have teams that win, and then you have teams that develop talent, and then you have teams that don't win and don't develop talent. That would be your Bridgeport last season. And then you have teams that win and develop talent, which is like the Hershey Bears. And I think that Rochester's a
Boston.
team that's okay. Yeah, Providence, that's true. But they don't really develop talent that well. And they haven't been given a whole lot of opportunity to do that. But they are trying. I believe Constantinius still down in Rochester. I gotta check that real quick, but so he's a first round pick that they have down there. I Am I wrong? I feel like they did send down somebody else recently who was a top pick. They have Zach Jones who came over. They're trying to work with him. Yeah. So Constantinius still down. Um, no, I guess I was wrong. So yeah, I don't. It's just not great.
Yeah. It is funny though how much people bitch about, you know, player development and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, they're showing the replay of the trip that put VL in the box, and it was not his stick.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Oh, he should be. That call was just wrong. Like, I get how it got messed up, so I'm not trying to sit here and say F the ref, because I could understand the mistake, but it was just wrong. It was the wrong call. Oh well, they got to fight back in this one, and we'll see if they can. But
Yeah,
I mean, they're getting exposed for the things that they did 3 weeks ago. That's why they're losing. If they're able to turn it around mentally, they'll be fine. So let's see. Bruins have allowed goal on first 3 shots against in 10 of 19 games played this season.
jeez.
Wow. Well, yikes. Anyway, there was some. Oh, I was gonna say something else about the player development, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, because we were talking about Devin Levi, and like everybody's convinced or convinces themselves of like, oh, this player just needs 1 year in this league, but then they don't, and then like how many people projected 1 year of development for players that Detroit picked? 1 or 2 seasons for a player to be in Grand Rapids, and then they took 3-4 years.
I don't I don't like, and I said this earlier kind of about Will Zellers and all the USHL guys. I don't like trying to project where players are going to be if they're not in the league already. Like I could say if you're playing in the AHL, I can somewhat kind of determine when you might be ready to make the NHL. But when you're a USHL guy, you're an NCAA guy, how am I supposed to know how you're going to play in the AHL? I have no idea how you're going to play in the AHL. You could be a great player and not play well in the AHL. Like it takes some adjusting, moving up levels, and it's the same with Will Zellers. Like, of course, I thought he was going to be fine. Did I think he was going to score 72 points and then be one and done in college? No. So
No.
it's hard to project 3 leagues. I have no idea.
Well, and I think some people are starting to learn that thanks to a guy named Gavin McKenna. Because, I mean, look, if you have a top 3 pick, top 3, you are not giving up on Gavin McKenna, no matter what his season looks like this season. Like, the worst you're going to do, like, the worst thing for Gavin McKenna, and it ultimately may be the best thing for him in his career, is he could fall to number 2. And not because he's bad, but because someone like Keaton Verhoff comes along and goes, I'm that good. I'm ready now. Because NHL teams are not trying to lose. They're just not. Once you get to a position, like if we're 25 more games into the season and Calgary is still as far back in the standings as they are right now, okay, now your mindset has to shift to how do I improve my team? This year's not going to go the way we want it to, so how do I make it so that we're in a good position to make a different run next season? Who are the best players that I can get to help us now?
Well, I agree. I think that it would be great for him to have that's not be the first overall pick as we stand right now, but because he doesn't need that title. I feel like that first pick overall, you're expected to make the league. You look at guys like Connor Bedard, and you look at guys like Macklin Celebrini, and you look at guys like Matthew Schaefer, and then you look at what he was supposed to be and what he was projected to be, and making the NHL wherever the hell he was playing this season. Taking that first overall pick, that banner off of him,
Tag.
taking that tag off of him and having him be in the second pick, people are still going to be like, great. Oh my God, we got a steal. Gavin McKenna at the second pick. Oh, he's not ready. That's fine. 1 more year. We'll figure it out. But when you're the second pick, I feel like there's a lot more wiggle room when it comes to what fans are expecting. Obviously,
well, it's hilarious because I mentioned this yesterday when I was on the show with Gail, right? How much, and you saw it last year, so I know you can attest to it. How much are fans talking about Fabian Lysell for the Boston Bruins?
Every day, every second, something's being said.
He's a bust. They got to trade him, give up on the kid, put him in the NHL lineup. He should be ready. Like, that's the sentiment around him. Fair to say?
Yes.
How many people have you seen mention Brett Harrison?
Dom.
Exactly. That's a player that comes up when you, me, and Dom are talking with each other.
Yeah.
Right. And at development camp, when you see where he's at and you're like, oh, and people are like, oh, this Harrison kid's got a hell of a shot because that's his best attribute. Like
that was never the question.
Right.
But thanks for adding that.
But the funny thing about it is they were the same draft. They were the exact same draft. They're the same age. They've been in Providence for roughly the same amount of time. Like, I think Harrison's got a year on him, but like, if that. And yeah, Fabian Liesel has produced more points, but they both had developing to do. And you hear all this talk about one and not a peep about the other simply because one's a third round draft pick and one's a first round draft pick.
Yeah. How many people care about what Mason Langenbrunner is doing right now? Not a single person. Not a single person cares what Mason Langenbrunner is doing right now. Nobody. I have not seen a tweet. I haven't seen a post. Nobody cares because that's where he was drafted. When you're a first round pick, you are expected. There are expectations, and when you do not pan out in the time frame that the fans decide, then that's what happens. I mean, I understand regular fans being upset because you look at a first round pick and you're like, my God, 4 years in the AHL. Like, when are you going to figure it out? Also, you look 4 years in the AHL and you're producing pretty well. What is happening? So,
Right. Well, and it's funny because like I know we've had the conversation. The Bruins don't have a lot of depth on the right side on the blue line. But it's funny that you mentioned Mason Langenbrunner because he's in his last year at Harvard. He's playing well. Like last year showed when he's what he's capable of. Like this is a guy who could, not saying he will, but because of 4 years in the NCAA, he could come in next year and shake up the depth on the right side of your blue line. I'm not saying he's going to be, it's going to go McAvoy, Langenbrunner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
By no stretch am I saying that, but he's the guy that could sit there and be like, hey, as good as Ty Gallagher has been, now you have someone competing with Gallagher and Soderstrom on the right side of your blue line in Providence.
They had Gallagher in the ECHL, no?
He was down there for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Which was weird. I honestly, like, again, I'm not current on what's going on. I'm not gonna act like I am, but Ty Gallagher was a guy who stepped in last year and was phenomenal. Like, did not look out of place. Looked like he deserved to be in the AHL. Played like he deserved to be in the AHL. He's a guy that I'm surprised went down to the ECHL when it happened. I was like, wow, I wonder what's going on here. Like, I cannot believe you don't find a spot in the lineup to put him. I don't know what the depth looks like currently. I know Soderstrom got injured. Jordan Harris obviously injured in the NHL.
They've got a couple guys that are banged up. Soderstrom is one of them. I'm trying to remember exactly who's hurt, but it's. I mean, it's not holding them back. So
no, they keep winning, so I guess it doesn't matter. But
I'm going to tell you right now, Zajac looks solid. Obviously, you know me. I'm not sitting here going, all right, next year he's Swayman's number 2.
Yeah.
Like, no. He is adapting well to the North American ice. That was the big question for him this year. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season he's taken the net from DiPietro. He is playing that well. But you know me, I'm still going to sit here and say, can he do it again next year? Like, before I'm ready to sit here and say they don't have anything to worry about in goal,
sophomore slumps happen, they happen all the time. That's why it's known as the sophomore slump. I was very impressed with Zajac. He came over. First game was against Bridgeport, led in 2 goals early, was rock solid rest of the game. And I was like, okay, he found it. And unfortunately, Bridgeport lost the game, but you were just like, at some point, I just felt like, okay, he found it. This might be a tough one,
Zajac's leading the AHL in goals against average.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he doesn't have nearly as many starts as some other guys. I mean, he's only got 8 to DiPietro's 15. So, like, let's not discount what DiPietro's doing. DiPietro's also getting all of the really hard starts.
18?
So, like,
wait, did you say 15?
15.
15 starts?
15 starts. Or
Has
no, I'm sorry,
Robinson played 15 games?
15 goals against. Games played is a 7-5 count. Sorry, I was
Yeah, I
looking
was
at the
gonna
wrong
say, I was
column.
like, Bridgeport has the most
They haven't played
games, I
15
think.
games,
Yeah, and they only have 13 games, so
but Drew
15-8.
Comesso has played 10 games
Yeah,
for Rockford.
yeah, so double, a
Right.
little bit more impressive, you know. But not saying that it's not impressive for Zajac coming over and
No, but he also has the highest save percentage too.
mm,
So, but I mean, Drew Comesso is only 8th on the list. So like when you double the games to be in the top 10 and you've played double them as many games, that's what you got to look at.
yeah. Speaking of Drew Comesso, isn't that going to be a good tandem of Spencer Knight and Drew Comesso one day?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
One day, I mean, we're approaching that day really
yeah, no,
quick.
yeah. Who's the backup in Chicago? Isn't it Soderblom?
Soderblom.
Yeah, so yeah, what other day wasn't his brother, got stonewalled by him on I think like a mini breakaway. Elmer?
Honestly, what I would do, yeah, I think that's his brother.
Yeah.
If I were Soderblom is the kind of guy that if I'm the Oilers, I'm looking at because he's the kind of kid that can come in and push a Stuart Skinner, but he's way better than Calvin Pickard and what's his name, the one they got
Ingram.
from thank you, Connor Ingram has been absolutely atrocious in the American Hockey League, which I'm more worried about where is he at mentally. Like, make sure he's good as a person before you worry about just calling him up. Like, before you worry about where his game is at, worry about where his head is at.
Yeah, dude. Wow, I didn't even notice. He's been
He's been
not good.
bad.
Not good.
He's been brutal.
4 goals against and 848 save percentage.
Yeah,
Below an
he's
850 save
been
percentage.
he's been brutal.
That is terrible.
And I know it's hilarious how many people are saying the Oilers should go after Ilya Sorokin, actually,
Yeah.
who we talked about before. But I just sit there and I go, how the fuck are they going to do that?
The Islanders don't have another starter like Ilya Sorokin. They don't have anybody on that level. Even Varlamov, who you're hoping comes back, who's been already supposed to come back and is not there yet. He's been skating since training camp and he's still not back.
What
So
was his injury?
I forgot. I think lower body. I forgot what it was. He was injured last year too. So he he was
Yeah,
injured last year. I don't know what happened. Let's see.
that's what I'm going to try to find out. Knee.
Yeah, so I thought lower body.
But that was last year. Underwent knee surgery in December 24 after an injury that bothered him for a while. Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. And then you're obviously hoping that he comes back the same. The
But he's
problem is,
also 37.
yeah, you can't trade Sorokin because, like, who is Edmonton going to give you back? Nowhere near Sorokin. You have to, and Bridgeport doesn't have anybody that is close to Sorokin, and Islanders
No.
honestly don't have any prospects that are that close to be taking the reins. Like I talked about Dimitri Gamzin, and
You don't and the Oilers don't have enough to make the Islanders sit there and go, we have to consider this deal.
Yeah, unless you're throwing McDavid or Draisaitl in, I think like it's most.
Oh no, it would have to be like Savoy. It would have to be, Isaac Howard, like someone like that going the other direction. And
you probably need some picks as well. You need.
And they don't have any picks.
Yeah.
So like, would you do Savoy and Howard for Sorokin? It's like, okay, no. Well, even if the deal said yes, you got to make the money work.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how are you going to make the money work? How are you going to make the goaltending work? Well, all right. Well, that's easy. Send Stuart Skinner the other direction. Money still isn't even fucking close.
Yeah. You have three guys going one way and one guy going the other way. So
right. What are they going to do? What are they going to try to do? Dump Trent Frederick? Like you got to throw in 2 more prospects just for them to take that contract.
Yeah. No.
Come on.
I would do Ilya Sorokin for Max Wanner 1 for 1 if they still
right?
had
One
him.
for one, straight up, right?
Yeah, if they still had him. Of course, Providence has him now, but yeah, no, Max Wanner would be a nice one. You'd have to throw him in.
It's just like honestly, the guy that they need. This is gonna sound hilarious to you, but the guy that they need is Anthony Stolars. That's the backup they need for Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, someone on an equal level. I'll say Stuart Skinner plays well until
Now that being said, the money won't add up.
no. Stuart Skinner plays well until the Cup Finals, right? So I mean, actually, I shouldn't even say that. There's been some brutal times in the playoffs where Calvin Pickard had to come in and play, but
yes. No, Stuart Skinner's the guy that'll get you there, and then you can switch over to Stolars once you're there.
I love it when things just I love it when the simple things just work out. I mean, how many people were like, "What the hell what is the plan with this Trent Frederick contract?" Like, I cannot believe that
for Boston?
No, for the Oilers. I was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, what, why? Oilers fans were like pumped, and I was like, why are you excited?
Why are you that thrilled?
I honestly didn't even know if they were going to extend him after the season. So like the fact that you're throwing that much money at an injured player who was like not that great. Now what is it? 18 games into the season, he has 1 point. So
and he's skated with McDavid. He's skated with Draisaitl.
it's
he is not your Evander Kane replacement.
Not even close. I don't even know what to say. Like 18 games, 1 point. That's like Oliver Wahlstrom production.
That's Dean Letourneau freshman season.
Yeah,
although he hasn't surpassed them yet, so I don't know if we can go that far.
Let's see what happens 36 games in. So wait, we're exactly at the halfway mark. So of Dean Letourneau's freshman season, no, 36 games, or was it 38? Something up there.
I think it was 38, yeah.
Yeah, so we're almost halfway there. Halfway to the halfway mark of Dean Letourneau's season, and yeah, pretty comparable, I'd say. 1 point in 18 games. That is terrible.
Actually, here's a name for you. And I don't think it would take very much just because I don't see them going very far this year the way they've been. Actually, where are they in the standings right now? They're fourth. You probably couldn't pry them away yet. Hope for the Rangers to tank a little bit and try and get Jonathan Quick back to the playoffs.
I love Jonathan Quick. I think I told you the story. I have a pick with him at the Stanley Cup. Great dude. Hamden native. So I would love to see him back in the
think
playoffs.
about the boost that an acquisition like that would give you at the deadline for your playoff run. A guy who's been there before, won it a couple times. He's looking to go out on top.
And he's still good.
He's still producing.
Yeah.
And you could be the team, and then he won with Kopitar, he wins with Doughty, then can go off and say I won with McDavid. Like,
it depends.
You don't need him to find the fountain of youth for a long time.
No,
just for 2 months.
Yeah.
And even then, you got Stuart Skinner in there. You only need him in there for a few games.
Yeah. No, I wonder. The Rangers would have to continue to play poorly.
Yeah, right now they're not that. That's the problem is the guys that you sit there and go, yeah, that guy would be the perfect guy to fill in and kind of give you that role that they're missing in Edmonton. Those guys are already doing that role for another playoff team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
what is it? The Rangers are one of those teams. Yeah, the Rangers are in the wild card spot, and they have 0 home wins. They haven't won an MSG yet.
One home win. One home win. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did score.
The Eastern Conference is such a mess. Like, it's crazy.
It's a mess, but a lot of it is because teams are playing even with each other. Some of them are playing like shit, yes, but some of them are playing up. Like Detroit's playing up or played up to where, a team like Boston was, to a team where Montreal is, and then a team like Toronto's playing down to like what Buffalo's doing. So and let's not forget, Buffalo's without Rasmus Dahlin right now. So that's going to hurt them a lot. Boston going on
Well,
a power play here.
listen, not that we were, eyeing a playoff spot for Buffalo originally, anyways. But yeah, obviously the
I
way
wasn't.
that's going is not great. Toronto, not great. Love that the Bruins got Fraser Minton and a first round pick. I saw some Islanders fans talking shit about that, and I was because they hate the Maple Leafs because of John Tavares, and I think I commented, and the Bruins got a first, and that went ballistic. Apparently, people did not. Apparently, people did not know that the Bruins have the pick
The
this year.
Leafs first.
We need the Leafs to play poorly, but not bottom five poorly because the pick is bottom
Yeah,
five.
the best you can get is sixth.
Yeah, and that is where I hope it lands because that would just
Yep.
be so fitting. It would be so fitting.
Well, no. What would be hilarious is if they finished out. Well, no, because then you'd end up with it. What would be the most fitting is they can still lose the pick to Philly as well because of the conditions on the Philly first rounder that they for Scott Lawton.
Mm.
So Boston could get it in 2026 or 2027 unprotected. I think it's 27. It could be
It is
28.
2027 unprotected if
Yeah.
it's top five
So
pick.
either way, like as long as it's not if it's not this season or if it's not in the top 5 or if it's top 5, then they get it next or whatever it is. Like it would be hilarious though if not only is this year's lost to Philly, but then the next year's is lost to Boston and it's unprotected and it's top 3 because this situation only gets worse.
Man, the Toronto front office should never pick up another phone call with a Boston area code ever again.
No.
Ever again.
Well, no, actually, what they should do, because both scenarios, they went, no, we want to keep this player, or we'll let you pick who it is that you take. Tuca for Raycroft. They said, who do you want? They said, we'll take Tuca. And they went, okay, good enough with us. And then in this situation, they went, we want Easton Cowan. And they went, no, he's the one we want to keep. You can have Fraser Minton. And now they're going, fuck.
Well, boss is probably like, all right.
Yeah.
If you say so, we'll take.
How much you want to bet Sweeney's like, I really want Easton Cowan? And they went, no. If you want him, we want him.
Yeah.
And so
All right.
he's like, so I'll take Fraser Minton then?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what we
I
really
know.
wanted. Like, come
Fraser
on.
Minton. When that happened, I was sitting on a live stream and I was like, we had a Toronto fan. He was like, oh, thank God, we didn't give up Easton Cowan. I was like, I don't know what you're watching, but I would much rather have Fraser Minton over Easton Cowan. I mean, I listened, and the World Junior effect is real. I understand that, but he looked horrible. He looked horrible in the World Juniors. And Fraser Minton was playing well in the AHL post the Easton Cowan, who was still in juniors. I was like, Fraser Minton? Awesome. It was even better because the next game they played was against the Toronto Marlies. He didn't get to play because they had visa issues, but the first game that he did play was back in Toronto when they were playing the Marlies, and they
Yes.
did a ton of stuff on him during their broadcast, and everybody said that how upset they were to lose Fraser Minton. And I always tell people my number one post, the post that did the most views, the most likes that I've ever posted was when Fraser Minton scored a hat trick against Springfield with Providence. People from the Bruins were laughing. People from the Toronto Maple Leafs were crying. They were pissed. They were so upset. They were so upset. I think it ended up doing like 123K views. It did that video did unbelievable, and I loved how much people hated it. The Toronto fans hated it. And I'm glad Fraser Minton's doing what he's doing in the NHL right now because seems like a great guy. And I'm sure it was tough being traded from Toronto, but he really did. He played well in the AHL last year. He's one of the few players in the playoffs that actually impressed me because Providence did not have a great playoff despite taking Springfield, taking the first series against Springfield and then taking Charlotte to game 5,
Game 5. Yeah.
which is their game 7, basically.
Yeah,
So
which was the do or die.
Yeah, and they played so poorly. They had less than 10 shots in that game and still only lost 3-2. So they
Yeah.
definitely took, and then Charlotte ended up going on and winning
Oh,
the
Pasternak with the hit.
not winning, but second place. So
Pasternak looking for 402. Playing like he wants it right now.
oof.
I had someone ask me the other day when and there are I want to go back to Edmonton in a minute and kind of some of the I guess early trade talk, but reasonable. But I want to ask you. Someone asked me the other day, what do you do when Elias Lindholm gets healthy? Do you leave? Do you put him back in the 1C spot and move Marat Husnadinov, and where do you put him?
I think it's a good question now. I think it'll be much clearer as the time goes on. I think, you see how it works and you see how the fit is. Do you see if it's just something that is, short term or if this continues to be? I think if it continues to be the way that it is now, you have to keep Usnadinov at the 1C role. How sustainable is it? I have no idea.
Not when Elias gets back, though. No.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you mess with what's working if it's working
So
so well.
so let me ask you this then. All right, let's say you leave that line together. Where are you now putting Elias Lindholm?
Yeah, maybe you're right because I don't know if you could. You're definitely not thinking about putting him in the bottom six.
Are you now splitting up? Are you reshifting your entire lineup so that he can be your 2C between Zaka and Arvidsson? That just doesn't make any sense. You're finally getting chemistry between that second line with Middlestead, Zaka, and Arvidsson. You don't want to break that one up. I agree. You don't want to break up the line that you have right now, but think about how much better Elias Lindholm is than Marat Hustadinov overall as a player, right? You now insert that back in between Geeky and Pasternak, who have been kicking ass even without him. It's going to elevate your top line. Now you move Marat Hustadinov to the left side of Fraser Minton, and they both play a strong forecheck physical game, and they both have offensive talent, and you have Tanner Janot or Michael Esimont on the other side. You've just improved your third line too. That's why I'm just like you can't not put that first line back together. Like I just don't see it not happening. It doesn't make sense. Unless he's not fully healthy and you're trying to bring him back and ease him back in. You know what I mean? Like there are
Also,
reasons.
if you're winning, then there's really no reason to rush him back.
Right.
So
let him take his time. And that's the thing is when does he come back? And who's gotten hurt between now and then? Because, I mean, right now, yeah, they have Beecher as the extra forward. He could probably go if it was the playoffs, but you're not rushing him back out there because you're winning with VL in the lineup. You're not losing anything from him.
Yeah.
But, it'll continue to be a thing to watch as they continue to get, the way they play, they're going to get banged up. So, and those are the guys that are going to get banged up. I mean, thankfully, Zadorov is built like a goddamn tank.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Mack truck. He's just like usually those. Even if you run into a crash with a Mack truck, like
it's still going to come out on the bottom.
Yeah, it's not going to be the truck. So I'll say though, I mean, Zadorov, he's one of those guys where I thank God that he's a Bruin and not on any other team. Like if he was a Maple Leaf, this could be bad.
The Leafs wanted him.
I'm sure they did.
They wanted him, but Calgary wouldn't deal with Brad Treliving.
I'm sure they did, and now
they're upset about how Treliving left.
And guess what? Now they get to see Zadorov in the Bruins uniform
20 times a season.
He was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna fight Domi. We were teammates. Also, it's a lose-lose because he's like 4'10".
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I love the restraint that he showed though. That was a good non-fight.
That's baller. That is baller. That you're just like, yeah, he's like a midget, so his punches weren't even hitting me. I'll just stand
Right.
there.
He would be doing the thing where he just stands out there with his hand and he's just swinging, waving.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell kind of fight?
pats him on the head at the end. Hey, good job.
Pats him on the
I'm
head,
proud of you.
turns it around, and goes, "Go to the box, little
Yeah,
boy."
yeah, you're good. And then I'm glad Boston made the Leafs pay on that one too. So
Oh yeah, that ended up being the dagger, which made it even more funny.
yeah,
But
no, what a season this has been in the NHL. Wild.
no, I do think so. It's funny because the free agency is all gone now. Free agency's gone for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and I think we knew that it will be for the next few seasons as the cap gets bigger. Their teams are just going to pay their big guys. Like none of those guys are going to hit the market or anything. But that's kind of the period that you're getting. It's just going to be an adjustment for the next few years. It takes away free agency basically, unless a guy really wants to leave. Unless you're playing for the Buffalo Sabres, like you're not going to see those guys hit the market. You're not going to see a guy from Vegas hit the market or a guy from Florida.
Well, and the thing is you're gonna see a lot more higher paid guys that like a team is gonna sit there and be like, no, we'll give you the extra mil so that we don't have to give you nice tic-tac-toe.
Speaking of which,
they're gonna sit there and be like, no, we'll give you the extra mil so that we don't have to give you a full no move. Because we want the flexibility to move you around somehow. And so I think you'll see a large uptick in partial no trade clauses. I think you'll see that. And I do think at some point something's going to tip and the trade market's going to start heating up.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy when I look at other teams' contracts where I wasn't looking fully before, and it's like, okay, let's move him or whatever, and then it's like he has a no movement clause, and you're like, really? This guy has a no movement clause. How the hell did his agent work a no movement clause into his contract? Honestly, how did that happen?
Well, it was easy to do before because you're like, all right, well, we'll lower the cap hit by taking the no move clause, and the cap's not going up. So you want the lower cap hit, we want the no move clause. It's a win-win for both sides. You know,
some of these players, I'm like, yeah,
I agree with you. So
I don't like not having that flexibility, and it ends up coming back and biting a ton of teams. So
for sure, but it's the guys without no moves, and I mean, once you ask a player to waive their no move, you got to figure they're pissed off enough to say yes. Like,
yeah, I guess if it gets to that point, they're probably like, yeah, no, that's fine.
Or their answer will be not during the season, so move me during the summer and we'll talk. And so then you have a player who's pissed off for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that either.
Which, let's be honest, that's why they have agents, because then you can have a conversation with the agent and say, like, hey, people are you can fudge it. People are asking about him, and we know he's got the no movement clause. I need to do my job and explore every avenue for the team.
And it's not working here. So
right. Or, we want to keep him, but if someone offers us something that we feel we have to take, how open would he be to possibly waiving it? And then it's,
and that's
there's
why
ways around it.
Yeah. And that's why you have the agents, so I feel like there's not as much, the hard feelings, or it's not like you're communicating directly with the player being like, hey, by the way, you suck. We're trying to move you.
Right.
There's all, how you play the game. And I messaged you like I gotta leave, but I want to hear how the advising has been going. I want to hear who you're bringing in, where are you going to watch these games. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Oh no, I've still got some stuff in the works here, but I do have a player that I've been talking to. Hopefully we can nab him. He just turned 16, so he's a little ways away, but we'll keep an eye on. I'll let you know where we can get him going for next season once we get him on board.
All right. Can you give the team? And probably not the name, but can you give the team?
He's in an academy right now. So right now, yeah. So that would narrow it down fairly significant.
Yeah. So hockey academy, correct? So it's not.
Yes. Hockey academy.
Hockey academy. All
but
right.
he will have a year where he does not have to worry about school. So he will solely be able to focus on hockey for that season. So
Hmm.
we'll see where he can
That gives
go.
you a lot
But
of options.
yep, and really good high hockey IQ.
Hmm.
Right now is playing. He's a right shot. They had him on lefty, and he's playing the right wing. I want to say he's a right shot. God, now you got me second guessing it, but not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the games that I saw him in, they moved him 3 or 4 times. Like, don't get me wrong, this team had like a dozen injuries.
Hmm.
I think collectively on their bench they had a total of like 16 or 18 dressed skaters. Like, I think the whole, like, with both goaltenders they had 20 people.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they were depleted. But, he had no issues, going out there for a face off in one spot and he's on defense. And then, 3 shifts later, he's back out there on the wing. 2 shifts later, he's back out there on defense. Never
Wow.
out of position when he's on the ice. Like, always knew where he's supposed to be, no matter what position he was in. Moves the puck well. He's also
Wow.
he's coming back from an injury himself, so he's a little lower on his game where it's been recently than he feels it can be. So we'll be keeping an eye on him.
Nice. Might have a little Jonathan Aspron on your hands there, moving from
Maybe,
team to
yeah.
team.
We'll see. We'll see. Hey, fingers crossed for that 2028 draft, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. You better start preparing.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, there's one name I wanted to run by you real quick though before, because we were talking about the trades and stuff, and I just wanted to pull him up to see where he's at this season, and I knew he was in jeopardy of losing his starting job. I think he already has, but I do think he's someone that could reasonably get moved because they have someone else in the pipeline. Doesn't cost a lot against the cap as a goaltender. And I think he could really help a team like Edmonton in their situation. I'm wondering if you can figure out who I'm talking about. It's another Canadian team.
Another Canadian team. I don't believe it would be Calgary because they have Wolf and Cooley, and I don't think you're talking about
No, and I don't. Dustin Wolf just got signed. He's not going anywhere. Devin Cooley could probably be had, but they like him as a number 2 behind Wolf, so I don't see them moving him.
It would be. I'm assuming you're talking about Montreal because they're the only ones that have a decent goaltending pipeline. I don't think Edmonton has a great goaltending pipeline. I mean, I don't think Winnipeg has a good goaltending pipeline. So you
They
couldn't.
don't need one either.
Yeah, you couldn't nab Eric Comrie out of Winnipeg. It's probably
I don't
definitely
think
not
he,
out of.
I don't think Comrie could handle the playoffs. That's the thing.
I mean, didn't he? He did play a little bit last season, though.
He's not he played a little bit because they pulled Hellebuck,
Yeah,
which means they were already out of the game. Like,
yeah. So
they
yeah,
would be pulling him, like he's just not. He's a great number 2 behind Hellebuck, but those two are also, they're as good friends as Sorokin and Varlamov. You're not separating them.
yeah. So I guess that saying Canadian team definitely narrows down the options to Montreal, and I know you're not moving Dobish, so I'll take Sam Montembeault. Is that the guy you're thinking about?
100%.
There you go.
100%.
There you
He's
go.
3.125 against the cap for this year and next year. Oh, we got a nice little bout between Janot and McDermott.
Mm.
This is going to be a nice little feud here between the two big boys. But yeah, Montembeault is about to lose, if he hasn't already, lose his starting job to Jakub Dobish.
Yeah,
They are already a young team, and they've got Cam Fowler right there.
Cam Fowler, Jacob
Not Cam
Fowler.
Fowler, Jacob Fowler. God damn, I do
There
that
you
every
go.
damn time. Jacob Fowler, who BC has struggled to replace.
I mean, I don't care who they have up next. I mean, he was always gonna be a tough guy to replace, like a
Oh,
tough
for
guy to have
sure, for
somebody
sure.
come and fill those shoes. Yeah, no, he's playing well right now in the AHL. I don't know how fast they want to fast track Jacob Fowler to the NHL. I'm
Yeah,
sure
Cam
he could.
Fowler's already there.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be a black ace for this team. You know, if Laval gets knocked out, like last year they had Colton Ellis come up and play with the Blues. Not start, not play in a game, but have him come up and maybe sit and watch and pick up some things maybe for next season. I feel like that
I
might be a move.
I guess my question is, what do you think it would take for them to give Matembo away this year?
Um, actually, I want to see.
Because Fowler's playing so well, for one. Two, they want Fowler in the NHL when he's ready. He's showing he could be ready sooner rather than later. Um, Let me just pull up his numbers here. They also have Capo Kakinen down there as well.
Yeah. Uh,
So
I
like,
think it is realistic that you move Montembeau, because also you're going to be now not 15 games into the year. You're going to be, halfway through the season. You've gotten to see a lot more of Jacob Fowler, and you've gotten to assess where he's at. And if he's not ready, and you get a great, you get a great offer for Montembeau, you just call up Kakinen and call it a day.
that's what I mean. You still need someone who can be like, so basically, I mean, how often do we see when a number two is really the number one in the American Hockey League, so he gets the starts? And so, like, if Fowler is your realistic number two, he's your number one now in Laval. You call up Kakinen, and then if something happens to Dobish where he's going to be out long term, you got Fowler to call up. Like Kakinen can give you the spot starts to relieve Dobish. He is a veteran guy who has been around to play that mentor role, which he's basically doing right now for Fowler down in Laval.
Yeah, and let's not forget, like, Kakinen has been there. He's done that. He was just in he was in the Calder Cup championship, So,
And
he's there.
and Matembo is capable of getting hot in the playoffs to help Edmonton get over the hump.
Yeah.
He's just not playing well right now.
It's something that you like. It's a move that they can make. It's a move that I'm sure Montreal would look at, but they're also a team that we talked about earlier. They're a team that needs a third goalie. They need three goaltenders that can play in the NHL and eat starts and win games. I don't know if they're convinced that it's right time for Fowler to do that. So maybe they need to get a goalie in return. Maybe that's Connor Ingram. Who knows?
Or maybe it's Calvin Pickard.
Yeah, maybe it's Picard. Like, you have options. So it's obviously, I feel like this is kind of how it always boils down when we kind of talk about stuff like this, but it would depend on what's coming back.
Yeah, it obviously there's work to be done in the deal, obviously, but just the Matembo to Edmonton fits, at least in my opinion, and it's someone that I look at for Montreal and go, you can afford to move him because, like you said, even if you want a third and fourth goaltender, you still have a solid 3-pack in your system, two of whom are very young, one of whom is committed to only till the end of this season, and I think Picard's contract ends at the end of this season as well. Maybe it's next year, but between those two veterans, you have one in the American League, one in the NHL for that mentor role, and then you go from there. So anyway, I know you got to get going. Bruins are now down 2-1 with 4.5 left in the second. We went a little bit longer than we had originally planned to, but this has been a good game. That was a hell of a bout between McDermott and Jeannot.
Yeah.
Also, I just remembered that it is also Thursday night football for the Pats.
Is it?
Yeah, I just remembered that.
I had no idea. I have not been watching football. I'm a Jets fan, so it's been tough sledding.
Well, they're playing the Jets.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, look at that. The Jets are winning 7-0.
Wow, what a night.
Holy crap. Well, Pats have the ball and they're on the, what is that, the 38?
Oh, my Lord. You can't be
losing. It's a 4th and 2 on the 38.
You can't be losing to the...
Oh, and they just got it. They just got the first. Like, they clearly got the first. I think the Jets just had the first set of downs and they scored. And then the Pats have just been marching down slowly but surely. At least that's what it looks like.
Crazy.
And I've seen 2 plays. Oh yeah, that wasn't even close. They just haunted them for that first down, 4th and 2. Anyway, yeah, what can we look forward to seeing from you and whatnot as time goes on? I've got a few things over here working on, but what
Yeah,
are
I
you
definitely
working
want to.
on?
I definitely want to hear about those before we leave, because I'm so interested in the advising and all that. Yeah, no. So I'm continuing to do what I'm doing at Isles in the Sound. We were just media credentialed for that game against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and we're going to have it for the season, which is awesome, and I'm very appreciative of that. So I'm going to continue to write articles there about Bridgeport, hopefully get interviews now, and kind of kick up all of what we're doing at Isles in the Sound. You've followed that. If you're a Bridgeport Islanders fan, you get to see highlights and updates and everything like that. And on my personal page, I've been kind of breaking down a few things that I've seen from Bridgeport, which people seem to like a lot. So that's basically what I'm working on. Obviously still got school and we're doing this. Hopefully we bring this back more because I enjoy all the time that we do this. It's great just coming on here and talking hockey for an hour and a half, but definitely for the future, got to do more.
Absolutely. We'll get back to a more normal schedule, even if it is just for an hour here, an hour there. We'll probably end up doing some randoms as well.
Yeah,
But
especially with the World Juniors and the Spengler Cup and all that, and I'm sure we will.
yeah, we got to get some prospect series games coming along, or just prospect games, OHL games going for our streams too. So couple Bridgeports and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Although if I can get down to a game in Bridgeport myself, then we'll have to do something down there.
Oh yeah, a live stream of us watching the Bridgeport game in
Yeah, we're
person.
in the press box.
That would be fabulous. I wonder
Sorry,
what
can't turn the camera around.
I wonder what the people would think. I wonder what the people there would think. But yeah, that would be
I don't
fun.
know.
We got
That'd
to
be
arrange that.
we'll have to talk to their media guy.
We'll have to arrange. We'll have to arrange something. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well,
Just
I
stay
want to.
tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll figure something. We'll do something. We'll have to do some sort of live show from location somewhere.
We got to do it.
So anyway, yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back soon. Keep your eye out for another episode here. And this has been the Next Shift Podcast.